Yanagida Podcast show, Vince. Oh
Justin.
shit, Andrew.
What's up, man?
Dude, I'm excited, man. So, dude, we've known each other for a while, and then we've met last year. No, 2022.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
Andrew's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how did we meet, Andrew?
Oh, we met in Japanese class.
Was that it?
2009. Yeah, we had J2
Wait, what
Sato
was the health
Sensei.
room thing? When
Oh
was
yeah,
that?
yeah. Oh no, that was like
That was after.
that was before that.
Oh, that was before that.
Yeah, like a month before we had
We
we didn't go to class. So,
I remember that.
but yeah, I remember. I think there was 2 seats left, and it was just me and you in front of the class, and then I would always ask you for help with Japanese.
Dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I remember when we were we partnered up and we had somebody else make the food. And we got
Oh, your
caught.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, we're gonna make some Japanese food. I was like,
Well,
can you help us
real
with
quick.
this?
Throw something together.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you actually thought that Sensei would believe it.
Yeah. And he's like, it tastes too good to be you guys
This is
cooking
too real.
this. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, Vince, how did you get started in? Let's start with jujitsu first.
Jiu-Jitsu. So I started in Jiu-Jitsu in 2007, 6 or 7. So I was 22.
Damn.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a couple of friends that did it,
Mhm.
and I had one musician friend specifically that was training, and she kind of invited me to come just try it out.
Mhm.
My first inclination was like, okay, I'm gonna try this out, but I really gotta probably just like Andrew, we gotta be aware of our fingers and not getting injured. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Huge,
Yes.
huge.
Yeah, it's your money.
yeah,
Literally
exactly.
money thing.
Something happens, we don't work, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so the fact that I had a musician friend that trained, I was like a little more like, okay, at least I have somebody that I can train with that would be safe. And
Mhm.
so I went up to Maui Jiu-Jitsu and just got on the mats for the first time. And I just got the bug. I was there every day, twice a day, 5 days a week for
Damn.
a long time. Yeah, at least the first year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would imagine the culture was very different, huh?
It was different. Yeah, it was a little bit of a different time. It was still. I was kind of thinking about it this morning. Like the UFC happened in 2000 or 1993, right? The
Yeah.
first one. So this was only about 12 years after the first UFC. It wasn't
Yeah.
that long in terms of time, right?
Yeah.
So it was still pretty fresh jiu-jitsu. It was still pretty kind of new to people. And since then, in the last 16 years that I've been doing it, it's grown and grown and grown, especially with YouTube and social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy because I was just talking about this to somebody because you had started 2010, no?
No, 12.
12.
Yeah.
Was it 12?
2012.
No, dude. You came when I was in high school.
Yeah, you convinced me to come down.
So it was 2010 or 11. You came at least a little bit.
No, it is all 2012.
Oh, 12.
Like I think we already graduated already.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because 2012 was when I got blue belt.
Yeah.
I was a white belt still when you came
So
sometimes, no?
yeah. So you introduced me to MGA, and then after that we went to Homolos
Yeah.
on Oahu, and then that's when I started going really consistently. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's very new. To get carpet burns and gi burns, and then when you first get them for the first time, they're so painful. I was like, oh wow. And then you wait to that.
What was it that you felt like the bug from? You're like, because I remember our conversations after college, walking home at like 11
Oh, yeah,
p.m.,
yeah.
having our freaking Slurpees.
Yeah. We go get food after. I think it was just like it was the hunt for progression, and it was just like you practice all these moves. There's a lot of warm ups too.
A lot of
Like
one
they'll build the 1 hour of abs. Yeah, I remember
that.
those days. But it was always just like, oh yeah, what kind of game are you gonna start? Is it a guard game? Is it a top game? I was always a guard game from like my first days, and it was just like you work up to can you get that first submission? So it took like about 3 months. But I remember when the omoplata came out, I was like, wow, so this is. Then I was like, oh, okay, what else can I add to the arsenal? So
That was your first submission?
I would say, yeah.
I remember your first submission as a white belt.
I think it might have been a collar choke from the guard. Yeah, from the close
The
guard.
power.
Yeah.
The power.
Yeah.
It works.
Mhm.
Jiu-jitsu works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's white belt is very much survival mode. So yeah, like I said, it took about 3 months for the first one. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting better. And then I started trying like triangles and some other stuff. But yeah, good days, man.
You know, it's crazy because just in like the 10, 15 years, like it was full blast. There was no such thing as flow rounds. I think when I first started in '09. I mean, only a few years. But I was just like, no flow. Everything is like, I'm just gonna shake hands. And just just like and it was just like grueling every round.
And you get blades to the face.
Yeah,
you know,
knee in the head, knee in the nuts sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And nobody took it easy on you then.
No,
now
it was like what you were saying. It was like that first wave of like fighters or people that were aspiring to be fighters.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like what, maybe 10 years ago. It kind of was like, anybody's doing jiu-jitsu.
More hobbyists.
Who's this
Yeah.
doctor
Yeah.
doing jiu-jitsu? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we're like, dentist, doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I remember that one time, Andrew. Remember the like hundreds of reps were doing hip bump triangle.
Oh
in the
yeah,
dorm.
yeah.
So we're in the dorm, and this little carpet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's go for a hip bump. Normally it's a trap, trap kimura.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, come on, let's try this hip bump triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So they base their arm in a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the Ryan Hall special.
You landed that shit.
Yeah. No, the crazy part was, we did so many reps in that room, and then
like, yes, white belt, fucking boom.
Yeah, and then that was my very first submission in a tournament was a hip bump triangle.
Nice.
Freaking awesome.
That's awesome. That's a great first submission for a tournament.
Yeah, I was surprised that when it locked in, I was like, oh my gosh, like,
it's like, oh shit, he's tapping.
I didn't even think about it. Just did it.
Yeah.
With so many reps.
Yeah. Reps pay off for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Muscle memory.
And so like throughout jiu-jitsu, I guess like because 2012 and longer, what you guys have noticed since the last like 10 years? Because it's been changed a lot. I mean, I got my own opinions too, but what are you guys' thoughts? 10 years. Wow. That's pretty big, huh?
That's pretty big.
2024. It's still crazy as 2024.
I think, like you said, just the amount of people that are doing it for leisure, as opposed to doing it to prepare for fighting or tournaments.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are just more hobbyists now that do it for whether it's the camaraderie, the friendship, or the health. The exercise or whatever it is. There's more people doing that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest change I've seen in this amount of time.
Well, I guess I would say more of a variety of techniques. You see a lot more
that too.
leg attacks. You see these innovative passes. You got these kids that are the Ruo Tolo brothers, so young, training like 24/7 and becoming like champ.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane seeing and then you see like I figured there's like he was like a blue belt kind of kid, but then I think he just got his black belt. I can't remember his name, but I remember. No, I think he's a
high level competitor.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a competitor, but then he was like smashing higher belts, and I think he just got his black belt. I can't remember his name.
Might have been Nicky Rod.
Oh, Nicky Rod, the black. I mean, he's
just got his black belt.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, just got his black belt. Yeah.
That definitely was overdue.
Yeah.
Overdue.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point. A lot of technique changes. The game's comes a long way, and not only that, but we're starting to see, a lot of characters within jiu-jitsu. People that have loud, personalities, brash personalities. They're kind of incorporating, what seems to be like a little bit of professional wrestling coming into jiu-jitsu with the characters we have now.
That's a good point, because even like in the UFC, when we first started watching, it was like Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, George St. Pierre, or Anderson Silva, and they were very quiet.
Yeah.
They wouldn't like trash talk their opponents, Silva, all these guys. And then 10 years later, not like what you're saying, UFC and Jiu-Jitsu too, because who was the guys at the time? I remember Dean Lister was ADCC.
Yeah.
Marcelo Garcia. Hodger Gracie. Like these crazy Shanji guys. Yeah, the Hibero Bros. And crazy.
Yeah. Papi Lovato. All those
I
years.
don't remember any of them really talking.
No.
Right?
Nope.
No, yes, it's different.
But it didn't sell as much tickets.
Right.
That's the argument.
So it's kind of like it's like kind of like the McGregor effect.
Right.
It's like after that happened, then Gordon Ryan kind of put on that persona. And he backs it up too,
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
That's the other
you
side
have to
of
back it up, or you just
right. Otherwise, you can't talk like that and then lose all the time. It doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
No. That's probably why it's even more followed.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
People like personalities. So if there's a personality, whether you like it or don't like it, it's
Gets
still bringing
attention.
its attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, like even with UFC, if you see an interesting press conference, you kind of want to watch it a little bit
Right.
more
so
if
like
they're trash
who were
talking.
some of the UFC like big personalities?
Originally, for me, the first one I think was Chael.
Oh, right.
I think he was like the one of the first guys to kind of do that
American
crossover where he just started talking mad shit to people, you know, and I think that was kind of the start of it. And then of course McGregor took it just another level, yeah.
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 'Cause I think that was one of the biggest pay-per-views, right? Habib and Conor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it was
definitely.
huge.
Yeah.
And then before that, one of the biggest was Chael and Anderson Silva,
Oh, the first fight.
the first fight.
That's right. I remember that. I remember we watched that live.
Yeah, yeah. The
That was a
last
big
minute
one.
triangle.
Last minute
Yeah.
triangle.
That's crazy.
He got beat up the whole fight.
23 minutes.
Yeah, of beating until that last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, that was a big fight. You know, it sold a lot of pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I think he seemed human. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Because before that he was just like Forrest Griffin and all these guys were like, what the hell?
I don't think he'd ever dealt with a wrestler like Chael
Yeah.
up till that point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Who kept him down?
kept him down. Was able to dominate in that area. Yeah.
Wow. Martial arts. And you know, because you guys do ukulele, like how has ukulele? Because you got to be careful with you guys' fingers. Does that affect you guys training, or how does that work? Because I can't imagine, like, you know, thinking about like, oh shoot, like my finger gets all tangled up and I have a gig tomorrow.
Right.
Does that kind of go through your guys' minds, or?
Over the years, I mean, I've had to change certain aspects of things, like the grip, spider grips. You know, I can't really do that stuff anymore because I started getting kind of these nodules in my fingers. I think we all got them, right? The lumpy fingers, right? I started getting those, so I don't really do the grips thing anymore. I can't, you know. Honestly, I don't think I've ever been able to go 100% because I always have it in the back of my mind that I can't mess up my hands. Probably the same for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except for when it's tournament time, it's different. But
yeah.
in training, you know, there's always that in the back of the mind. So it's like I can't ever go 100% because I always have to protect, you know, the hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, yeah, even grabbing like the 4-in-1 on the sleeve, I can't even do that because I use my nails for picking as well. So I use it with my left hand, and then I'll just like. But honestly, for the majority of gi, I just do no gi grips because I don't want to risk it. I'm just like, I'll just. Overhooks and all that. Like, so I barely like. I used to play a lot of spider back in the day, but yeah, after ripped nails off, I kind of abandoned that.
Oh,
yeah, it's not worth it.
Did you tore a nail off?
That was bad.
Yeah, it happened the other week too.
Oh!
That's why I got these are fake nails now because.
Oh, they're acrylics.
Yeah, so like I'm actually having a hard time playing ukulele because it's like a little more on the back side.
Right.
So it's
doesn't feel natural.
It doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
So trying to adapt the best I can.
Oh man, that's gnarly.
But yeah, always looking out for the longevity. That's something that's like pretty underrated. And ever since I hit my 30s, man, like, you know what? I got sciatica now. My knees all messed up, and so I just trying to train for longevity because I want to train like forever.
And like, you know, for music, I don't know how the world works, and so is there, you know, like for jiu-jitsu, how we have, okay, so like, you know, your first coach or your professor, and then maybe people we look up to that we've seen on YouTube. Like, I really was fascinated with Dean Lister's like leg locks. Which is why at white belt I was leg locking at novice, knee bars, and ankle locks, yeah. And so like his game, Marcelo's butterfly system, and is there stuff like that in ukulele where you guys are like, or music, like, oh, I kind of like this player, like this guy, this person's style. Anything like that for you guys, or like I guess like anybody coach or mentor you?
I mean that's pretty spot on. It's like you know, if someone does. I mean, especially with guitars, you know, certain players have a lick that you may want to borrow. You know, so you I think it's good to keep your mind open to different, I guess, ukulele players in a sense, guitarists, musicians, just kind of like how you see something from Marcelo or, you know, some of the great other jiu-jitsu players in the world. So yeah, it's I think it's good not to just limit yourself to just one source of knowledge. Yeah.
But who were some of the guys like when you're like I remember because in high school, I forget.
Yeah.
Were there some guys?
Oh, Jake Shimbukuro
Jake,
definitely
yeah.
was my biggest inspiration growing up. It's because of him, that's when I was like, oh, I kind of want to do that when I
I
grow
can't
up.
believe that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember because 15 years ago.
And then of course you got like the old school guys like Troy Fernandez, great player, Herbo the Jr., like that. So yeah, those guys that I listened to. I didn't really have a teacher growing up. I was pretty much self-taught, and I listened to CD, old school style, over and over. So I felt like I learned pretty well, like interpreting it in my own way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like when people read books and kind of like absorb mentorship, like reading books.
Yeah.
It's like you paraphrase, you take somebody else's idea and interpret it in your own.
That's cool.
Your own form,
I mean, I guess it is art after all, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end goal is you go through your influences, you take what you learn from your influences, and then you make it your own, and you express yourself that way. That's the end goal. That should be your end goal as a musician, is to express your own thoughts in your own way. But to do that, you have to go through influences, right? You have to take stuff from this person, stuff from that person, and you end up putting it together and you come out with your own style. And nowadays it's easy because kids have YouTube.
That's why
you can type in YouTube, how do I play this? And a lot of times you have the actual person, right, that you want to see do it, have already done a video on how to do whatever it is that you want to do. When we were growing up, you had to put the CD on and replay it, rewind it, and just figure it out by ear. It's the only way you could do it,
Wow.
I do feel like that helped our ear training.
Oh yeah,
that's like because
the what training?
Ear training, like the fact that we had to work really hard to like dissect something, because even if there was a YouTube video back in the day, you can't even see the quality.
Right, it was
2006. You can see where the hand is, but you don't actually see the mechanics and everything.
Yeah. So training your ear is basically like being able to identify sounds just by listening to it, right?
Okay.
So listening to a record, listening to a specific, let's say, for instance, like a Jake solo from a Pure Heart record, right?
Okay.
And you listen to it over and over and over again, and then you try to match the sound from the record with your finger on the instrument.
Just from the ear.
Yeah. So that's training your ear to be right. That's what ear training is. So, like what he was saying, because we had to do that so much, we didn't have the visual aid. Now our ears are much more delicate and stronger than a lot of people these days that have the YouTube, that can skip that part of the whole learning process.
So in a way, it kind of built our musical IQ. So it's like the equivalent of fight IQ, I guess.
Right.
We have this intuition that probably some of the newer guys don't have, because we had to work harder in the building process.
Right.
People can look at TikTok and how's this move over here?
Yeah. It's exactly the same with music, right? There's so much information available to people now that we didn't have. We had to do it a whole different way.
That's why you got prodigy kids of music and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's why you see 5 or 6 year old kids that are just amazing musicians.
5, 6 years old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's little kids out there that are just unbelievable musicians, And I think a lot of it is especially later on. There's really young kids and there's teenagers that are also very gifted now. A lot of it is just so much information available now.
Yeah.
People.
What is like some of the most exciting parts of playing music for you guys? Because I mean I can't imagine, like, because you guys have been doing it so long. I mean, maybe the motivation has changed, reason why. Or what excites you about like playing? Because to me, like, someone doesn't do music, I'm like, dude, that's pretty badass, right? You're there banging and doing your thing, and I'm like, oh.
Honestly, for me, it's like the opportunity to travel. And like share knowledge and perform and stuff like that. And so like whenever I have like a really busy year, like I get like really excited because I've gotten so used to going off island, right? So like if I have that opportunity to go to Europe or across the US, I just like, okay, good. I see that coming up in the summertime. Then I can practice all this new stuff. There's like a reason for all this.
That's cool. So like the traveling kind of excites.
Definitely, and then you get a different perspective because the styles are very different in other parts of the world as well.
Yeah. I'm sure Andrew can agree, but music's taken us places that we probably never would have gone to otherwise if we hadn't.
100%.
Yeah.
So like, what are some of like those memories, man? I want to like pick the brains now. Like where you're like, damn, this is exciting.
Well, you played in China.
Oh,
You
yeah.
played
You're
in
telling me that.
Chi-
Ireland
Yeah, so
and
oh, Ireland was
What?
pretty cool.
yeah.
Ireland, huh?
Yeah, I didn't have the Black Forge back in there.
What is that?
I would have. It was McGregor's pub. I would have went last time if it was there. But no. Yeah. So I went to this little place. It was this place called Ukulele Tuesday. It's a small little pub in Ireland, and it's a small room. It's maybe just twice the size of this one, but they pack like a couple hundred people in there.
What?
Yeah, and I was
What country is this?
Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah, and the energy that they brought, I would say so far is probably the greatest I've ever seen. As in a crowd. Yeah.
Just packed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So so kind of go back to the McGregor fights with that energy. They bring that towards the music as well.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, this is like I felt, and it made me excited to play.
Yeah.
It made me want to play longer. I went over my time. I was like, okay, let's continue playing. I was,
You feed off that energy.
Yeah. Oh,
Totally.
feeding off the energy when you're playing is so important.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Honestly, personally, is just that transfer with people.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of prefer playing smaller venues as opposed to bigger venues.
I see.
Just because it's easier to connect with people.
Mhm.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Versus like.
There's so many people in a big place. There's so many people that it's impossible to connect with everybody.
Right.
But in a small place, you can actually like get your energy out to everybody and get their energy.
Yeah, and you come across different audiences like around the world, like in terms of energy. Some people are look more reserved or sick, just like right.
Like I'm sure Japan's probably like that. I haven't played there yet. But
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
I know. I went to a place in the UK that was a little bit
really
more reserved.
more.
But then in China, like everyone has their phones out and stuff like that.
What's up?
And when I went to China, and then everyone wanted to take a picture after that. I was like, that's the most like, I was like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. Like, oh, I see you on YouTube or all that. I was like, oh wow. And it was like a very much younger crowd in China when I went. So yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's just different. So that's why I like a nice variety of places to go to when I travel. Yeah, and of course, you get the food and just the cultural that you can experience while on that trip as well.
Yeah.
And then, what about for this year, 2024? You guys have anything like lined up? You guys excited for? Or?
Well, I saw you're doing UK in the summer, huh?
Yeah. So I'm going back to the UK. So excited. We're gonna probably do another tour over there. So me and my dad are gonna go. Very excited. It's been I think the last time I went was 2019. So excited to see some old friends.
Can you believe that's 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Like we were 5 years younger. That's crazy.
That's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
Wow. And then your dad and granddad shout out, right? Like the 3 generation.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that. I was like,
Yeah.
No,
So
his dad is a legend. His dad here on the island is for sure legendary.
yeah,
how long has he been
professional since he was like a teenager.
Oh shit.
A long time.
Oh, 50 years.
A long time.
And became a professional musician right out of high school after Baldwin. Then he went to Oahu.
His dad was too.
Yeah, so my grandpa and his brothers were in the Molina Orchestra, like 30s, 40s, and so I do feel like there's like a weight to kind of continue the legacy of music.
So like, where do you want to take like music to? Like, is it like like some people, for instance, for fighting, might be like, you know what, let me just fight a few fights and then I'm good, or is it like UFC league, let's start for that, or is it like okay, I have different ambitions in different areas of life. But what are your thoughts?
Well, honestly, for me, I started really young.
Yeah.
I started professionally when I was like 13. So
13.
By the time I was 23, 24, 25, I'd already accomplished everything that I wanted to do. I accomplished. I've been so fortunate in the things I've been able to do that now I feel like it's my time to help the younger generation. So
like
teaching,
cool.
mentoring, just helping younger musicians kind of find their way with things that I learned, you know what I mean? And maybe help them avoid some pitfalls that they might accidentally fall into without information that I've already attained over the years. So for me, just mentoring young musicians is kind of where I'm at right now, because I feel like I've accomplished everything. I'm happy with what I've done.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like next generation, help the young kids, find the young players that have talent and ambition, and like nurture them and bring them up, find them work, and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at.
That's exciting.
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
That's like
That's my
professor
focus.
for music, bro.
Yeah, that's my
Basically,
focus.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
music professor.
Yeah.
Holy shit. What you had, dude?
I definitely want to continue traveling and getting some nice venues, and of course, yeah. But I agree with Vince in the sense of like just I guess the last couple of years, I've really enjoyed the mentorship role as well.
Mhm.
Seeing them have that discovery of, oh, I can actually do something. Like, oh, I can actually do that. I never thought I could. It's such a very fulfilling feeling, right? Because they never believed in themselves. So I kind of I help them with that. So with some of the new programs that I do now, that's a big part of that. But yeah, I guess everywhere, the performing side, I want to get to the next level, and also the teaching side. So yeah.
And so for like teaching and music, is there any like thing that you had to go through, or is it just kind of like based on experience? Like jujitsu, there's not really, but it's kind of like
It's kind of the same. I mean, you can be educated. You have your degree in music and whatever.
Yeah.
Or not, and you can still teach. If your ability is at a certain level, you can still teach, just like
Makes
jujitsu.
sense.
You know what I mean? If you're good, you can pass the information along.
Makes
Then
sense.
yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, what a world, man. Wow, that sounds like a long time, like 20 years, no?
This will be.
Teenager.
I've been in Kanekoa since I was 12 or 13,
Damn.
so 26 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, long
And then
time.
you're going to school next chapter.
I just started school yesterday. I did my first assignments for school yesterday.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a long road, but yeah, eventually physical therapy
that's awesome.
is my final goal for that. Probably take 6 or 7 years, to
And you're
reach
saying
the end goal.
You're inspired by that from your rehabbing your own injury.
Yeah. I slightly tore my MCL training 6 or 7 months ago, and we're going through the rehab process and seeing that, oh yeah, you can avoid surgery if you have a good rehabilitation process. If it's not a super terrible injury and you can actually fix it yourself, there's ways to do it, and it's very interesting. So I figured, why not try it? 7 or 8 years of school, no big deal. No,
I mean, because it's gonna pass.
it's gonna pass anyway.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, this is good. And I'm just thinking about with so much things happening. What was your guys' like first perception when we met? When we first met, what were your first thoughts?
Oh, me and
met
you?
in high school.
Me and you?
Yeah, you remember? You're like, for first thought.
I was like, oh, he seems pretty cool, and he can speak fluent Japanese. Let me ask him for help. Like, I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
I think that's
Yeah.
the first impression. Yeah.
Yeah, but then we started hanging a lot. It's always sitting next to each other. We went from J2, 3, and 4,
Japanese.
and then we started going to the gym together. You got me into the gym.
Oh, lifting, yeah.
Yeah, lifting, and then
we had a little lifting crew. Oh,
yeah, and then we used to just hang like
that's right.
by the truck like nighttime, and then we just talk story. Yeah,
Talk in the parking lot. Huh?
yeah. So yeah, I guess it was pretty natural.
Yeah.
Where did you guys train out on Oahu?
This was at UH Manoa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a. Did you come with me to judo?
No,
At college?
no.
That was Homelo's class at UH Manoa.
Yeah.
Was Ermin there?
Ermin was. Sometimes.
Oh, really?
He was there sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And then Gilson was there sometimes.
Gilson, yeah.
There's a lot of Brazilians at the time.
Oh, Michael Grande was there too.
Around there, musician.
Oh, Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey. Yeah.
Oh, he's an amazing musician.
Good. He's a super cool guy.
Man, great jiu-jitsu. When I met Mikey, I was playing in Anuhea's band,
Okay.
and Mikey was the keyboard player.
Oh.
This was probably like 2000, and this is right when I started jiu-jitsu, so it must have been like 2006, 2007.
Oh, wow.
And Mikey was a purple belt.
Oh.
And I had just started, I was a white belt. So that was the one thing that was interesting that we had in common. Also playing music. I was like, oh, look, this guy that also does jiu-jitsu. And he's a purple belt. Oh my God, he's so good.
Yeah.
When you first start jiu-jitsu, purple belts are like, you're like, wow,
Yeah.
So that was the cool thing with Mike. But just a fabulous musician too. Just
Wow.
amazing arranger, keyboard player, studio engineer as well. Yeah,
Wow.
he's the real deal. That guy. Have you ever played with Mikey?
I had him on my album.
Oh, yeah,
I
Mikey.
actually produced
Oh.
my second
That's
album.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
the funny story with that is that I grew up with this Jake Shimbukuro DVD, and Mikey was the keyboard player.
Right. Was it the Live in Japan one?
Yes, that one.
I remember that DVD.
And so like I had that image in my head for the longest time, and then one day at Jiu-Jitsu, there was when he was brown, and then I'm rolling with him, I'm like, what, I've just seen this guy.
Dude, that looks familiar.
And I was like, wait a minute, you're the guy from the DVD. And then I kind of put it together. I was like, are you Michael Grande? He's like, yeah. And I told him who I was. He goes, oh, I know your dad. And so that was like, that was kind of cool. Like, that's kind of how the two worlds collided. I was like, oh, wow, music and jiu-jitsu. And that's like, he was the first musician that did jiu-jitsu that I knew at the time.
Same. Yeah. At that level, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, because it sounds like in music, there's like, what do you call that? Like, it just sounds like there's so much like respect for people doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And
And
you almost like any art.
Right. And I think there's the expectation for like musicians of not wanting to do a contact sport. That's why I think there's kind of more on the fewer side.
Right.
So when you come across one, I was like, hey, I understand, you know.
Oh. You guys know what he's up to nowadays?
Yeah, he has a studio on Oahu. He's mostly doing engineering, studio engineering, but he does gigs. I think he still plays with Jake sometimes when Jake has the band.
Yeah, that's right.
He plays with a lot of people. He's like what they call a hired gun. Somebody like all the main people that they just call. Like, oh, I need a good keyboard player. Call Mikey.
Yeah.
So all the bands call him.
He's
good reputation.
He's got a good reputation. Yeah, really high level.
That must matter a lot in music too.
Yes.
Credibility.
Yeah, he's also like a really just good person, So then and to have a long career in music, you have to be easy to work with. You have to be like personable,
Yeah.
You can't be like an asshole. You won't have a long career.
Burn all the bridges, huh?
You burn all the bridges, and then you get no work. Yeah, nobody calls you. So that's how that works.
Wow. That's crazy. That's origin. Yeah. And then like when we met almost a year and a half ago, what was like the first thoughts? And you're like, oh,
he beat me up.
We met at your birthday.
At your birthday rolls.
We were bullringing you.
Brandon
and
that's right.
Hey, Josh, you want to come for your boy's birthday bull ring? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Like Shark Tank come.
That's right. Yeah.
That was fun.
And then that's when I saw was Gustavo's there? No.
I don't
No,
think
was
he
there.
was
JR.
JR was there.
Hardy was there, I think.
Harley was
There's
there.
a couple white belts that didn't know.
Oh yeah. Maybe the big guy. What was the big guy's name that goes to Brandon?
Very like a military, like a strong looking dude.
Oh really? Oh, Edmund?
Edmund.
Oh yeah,
He
he's
was
strong.
good, man. I was like,
Yeah. No. We talk about that guy all the time. Super nice guy, but it's just like, man, he has this. It's like he rolls like a purple belt. Yeah.
He wrestled.
Super good. I don't know. He just has good. I know that.
Was in the military.
Yeah. He has a lot of
combative
training, but he has this intensity, and it's just like he feels like kind of like I guess you would say like if you feel like Khabib was on your legs, you cannot get. I'm like, what the heck? You're trying to make space, and he leaves no space. And I'm like, you gotta teach me how to do that, man.
Is he still training with them?
No, he'll come. Yeah, very inconsistently. So we always try to tell him to come down. But yeah, I miss that guy. It's been a while since I rode with him.
Oh, but yeah, that was 8/11. I just remember because this is your birthday.
Yeah. That's 2021, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
22.
22, I think.
Oh, 22. That's right.
It was the year before last.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was good. That was good fun. Had good rolls.
Yeah.
That was a good day. Birthday. Because you had turned 29.
I guess so.
Yeah, 29. Oh my god, I'm not 31.
Wait, no. I have to turn 30.
30.
Well, no, was it big?
Because that was 2022, so I'm turned 31 this August.
30.
That was the third. Yeah, that was the big one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got burgers after.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was good.
I remember our first roll. I was like, man, this guy's jiu-jitsu is good. I was like, wow, Justin's jiu-jitsu is good.
Yeah.
That's brown belt, yeah.
No, I think it's purple, dude.
No, it's brown.
Oh, was he?
Brown.
Oh, no, wait.
Yeah.
When did you get your?
Probably like.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking of 2020. I'm thinking of a different time. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, good times.
Good times.
And then I just remember we clicked, and I think we shared. That's when we're like, I gotta get your number.
Yeah. I was thinking, man, I gotta go train with these guys because that guy's jiu-jitsu is good.
Yeah.
I can learn some stuff, I'm sure.
And then that's when here was still unofficial.
Yeah.
Until 2023.
Yep.
Which last January.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually it was Yeah, like what you guys are saying. I remember, you catch a little bit of flack because you're still brown belt, and like, oh, it's not a black belt teaching.
That's okay.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, you
it
got
was
like the
good.
record for the fastest promotion, I think, right? Like 11 months.
11 months,
That's crazy, man.
From brown to black?
No,
Wow. But you competed a lot, yeah? Yeah.
that was it's good. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, it's just so crazy how like martial arts can connect all of us. Well, it connected us, and then it just kept us connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're like, yeah, let's keep training. Because I don't have that music side.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I would imagine martial arts probably connected you guys to other people too. With jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
Like this guy.
Yeah, it's just different when you start like you train with someone and it's just such a close contact sport, and it creates just a very unique bond.
Yeah.
Immediately,
Where you you can't really explain to someone who doesn't understand.
Right.
But
the closest thing I could think you could compare it to would be like being in the military.
Mm.
You just kind of develop that family kind of vibe,
Yeah.
right? Because you're going through the trenches together, so it's kind of the same, in training.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through the injuries, everybody goes
That's
through
true.
everything to get all the promotions, everything together, so it
Yeah.
becomes like that unique family bond thing.
a struggle together.
A
Yeah.
struggle together,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. It's exciting because, man, in 2024, we got some things cooking, and, we're talking off camera, and that's some exciting stuff together. Because it is crazy because it is growing on Maui a lot. Like, there's so many I mean, it's not at Oahu level yet.
Right.
Because Oahu is like on every corner.
There's just more people
Like
too.
on
as
King
well.
Street, there's like 4 schools. I'm like, why is there 4 schools here?
Right.
Oh wow.
But they're all packed
Mm-hmm.
with like, I'm like, wow. But there's a lot of people, a lot of interest, and then of course different styles. Some are like, all right, cute, and
Right.
and some are more like, all right, self defense, and then some are more like, okay, let's keep it playful, and sometimes,
And where do you guys train when you go to Oahu?
Oh yeah, Sojourn, shout out. We just did a podcast with Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cool, man. So I met him accidentally through meeting the F45 fitness gym, Shane.
Mm.
He was the reason why I went. And so I remember reaching out to Shane, the owner of F45, saying, hey man, going to be going up to Oahu. This is during the pandemic in 2020, when there was like, you have to stay locked down. It was ridiculous, the first year. But I was like, screw it, I'm going to go. So I went to go visit him, and he was like, hey, do you want to train jiu-jitsu? I'm a purple belt. I was like, you're a purple belt too? And he's like, yeah. Like, oh, well, okay, let's train. And then I didn't want it to be friction because I was going there for a podcast, not to win, just to make friends.
Right.
And so I think people do feel that immediately if we go somewhere and it's like, these guys coming to like hunt us down,
Right.
Like, oh no, let's have a good time.
Right.
And you can feel it too. It's
Right.
like so. And then I met Jason. I was like, oh, who's this guy? The professor like teaching. Oh, this is my manager, Jason. I was like, oh. And then we met 4 years ago like that. And then now it's like Sojourn Jiu-Jitsu. And then last time he told me, I believe they're going to be expanding somewhere. I don't know. But that's cool. That's good for them. They're growing. They got a lot of blue belts now. And then the other school that we dropped in a few times was actually the 2 girls. There were 2 girls that Alan and Alana had battled at Nagas. And so that's how we connected with them and their professor, which was Gracie Allegiance. They're a Clark Gracie school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, and then the Sojourn was an Athos affiliate. And then just recently we went to United BJJ, which was the Bruno and Angela Lee's gym.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's just crazy how, like, it connects to. And I think when we go with the energy to connect and not to, like, roll and, like, I got that guy. Like, it's not like that. Like,
right.
Oh, yeah, I got that instructor or something. Like, because, I mean, plus it's just we're training for fun. It's not ADCC or anything like that.
Right.
And then we're welcome back. It's like, oh, yeah. And like, us. It's gonna.
Right,
it's
yeah.
like that's how we roll. We're not like full blast and
Yeah.
fucking killing each other. We're just like let's just share some techniques.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can feel it. I can usually feel it in the fist bump how the roll's gonna go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's like the ear thing, right?
Yeah.
But for like the feeling.
Right. It's like as soon as you feel the intensity of how they bump your fist, you're like, okay, I know exactly what percentage we're gonna go just by the fist bump.
Or even the first grip.
Or the first grip.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the death. Yeah,
Right.
because
Because you feel like an
yeah,
arm
right.
drag or
Because
something.
if it's like this, it's like
You know it's gonna be.
yeah.
You're like, oh shit.
I better get ready.
You're like,
Yeah.
That's why I try to give people the limp hand every time I do the bump. I just give them the limp hand.
Yeah.
Okay, all good.
The warfare before the match.
It's like mental, right?
Yeah.
So you feel that you're like, oh man, this guy's an attack.
You can feel it, yeah.
And then
Like-
even I guess just training in your daily sessions, certain people bring certain intensities. You kind of know what to expect a game, and then it's just it kind of gets you just trying to figure out how am I going to deal with this situation today, and how can I do it better than yesterday.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think that's the part I really love about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Is that it constantly sharpens the mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you could do good one day and the next day, like you're just on the bottom and it's like, whoa. And it keeps you humble, It's like you got to stay on your feet. You got to be ready. And it's good to go into bad situations because if you're not there, then when you get there, there's a big chance you're going to get subbed. So it's good to play with dangerous situations as well. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite parts of jiu-jitsu is that it's never concrete. It's always changing.
It's just like music.
Yeah.
Music, once you get to a certain level past the technical part of it, it's just reacting to the situation you're in. It's constantly changing.
When you're playing.
Right. Because it's constantly changing. Every second you're playing, the music's constantly changing. Right. So it's constantly very improvisational, like jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu is very improvisational. You're just doing it as you go. Each second's different. So I think that's where our connection with music and jiu-jitsu is that it's ever evolving, right?
Yeah.
So it never ends. It's the same as music. It's an endless journey, right? You're never going to get to the final. So for us, it's just like a constant study, right? We do jiu-jitsu because we know it's never going to end, even though we'll continue to progress. Just like music, we'll never reach the end, but we'll continue to progress. So it's kind of, I think we fall into the same. It has the same kind of almost an addiction,
Yeah. And that's probably the artist within us,
Yeah, it's the artist in us for sure. Yeah.
No, it's so crazy because there was this what you guys just hit on was that curve where it's like I don't know if it's a curve but oh my gosh it's gonna what bell curve or something where it's along the line of when you're starting out we think we're better than we are and then when you're later on we think we're worse than we are.
Yeah.
If you can look that up, Jojo. What the word is, but there's an actual theory where the better we get, the worse we think we are, and then the newer we are, the better we think we are. So it's funny because black belt now, it's like, dude, I feel like I suck.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I feel like I suck, man. There's so much stuff
agree.
to work on.
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta work on this, I gotta work on this, I gotta work on this defense, I gotta work on escaping this more, I gotta, left side, right side, forward, all these different things. And I'm just like, wow. And then I remember when I was at white belt, I was like, I'm ready for blue belt, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm blue belt.
Yeah.
I wrestled in high school.
Yeah.
I did judo, all that.
Yeah, I'm good, but I need that blue belt.
I got one sub today.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm good today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I was just like,
I think it's just us growing up and getting that humbleness over the belts. It seems to happen when you go through the belts. Versus when you first started. I gotta try that today.
Yeah, when you first start, you don't know what you don't know.
That's why.
You don't know it. Yeah, like when you first start, you have no idea. You can't grasp the amount of information that you're yet to retain.
Yes.
When you get something new, it feels like the biggest achievement, but you can't understand the amount of information that you have to come still. So everything that comes to you feels like the greatest achievement in the world.
Makes sense.
But once you go over that, you go over those humps of getting more and more information, you realize when you get to a certain point, okay, I have all this information, but there's still areas of this information that I need to fill, right? Because you realize how much information there is. In the beginning, you don't realize how much information there is.
Yeah.
But now we go, okay, I have a small concept, a black belt. Okay, I have a small concept of how much information there is.
Yeah.
Even though there's still,
This is the ocean.
Yeah.
even though the ocean still
Shit.
continues and still gets deeper and deeper, you know, it's endless. It's just the endless thing, you know.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, I was like, I remember what coming up was like, why do these like black belts and high level guys, why are they saying like that they suck or they got a lot to work on? Like, these guys are like best in the world or whatever. Even like people at brown and black belts, like, why are they saying that? And then because then they're smoking us at white belt,
Right.
You know, they're literally doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't do anything against these guys.
Right. And then the pace of brown and black belts are just very different from like even above purple. Like you get steamrolled at a very slow pace. Right?
It's just like,
Yep.
yeah.
Right. It's very relaxing if you compare that with the aggro white belts, right? At the beginning of the journey, when you first start off, there's that because there's that worthless aggression. Not everyone has it, but a lot of people do have it. Because I think you're so hungry for a victory of a sub because you know in the beginning you're just getting annihilated inside control. You're getting mounted. You don't feel so you feel like there's probably like no progression. It's just like I'm just getting smashed every day. Like you don't see that progress. So I think that's why they hunt so hard for that victory in the beginning.
They want that sliver of hope.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I know what that feels like. You
Yeah.
just feeling hopeless and it's like, man, like why am I practicing all these moves if I can't even get a side
Right.
control?
Why am I going to keep showing up to this? Why do I put myself through this every day if I don't have any hope? Like nothing's going to work. So like you said, as soon as you get that one little sliver of hope, it's like okay, bang.
Yeah. I think we can all relate on that to some level.
Yep.
And you know, it's interesting because I remember Professor Nakai was telling one of the students about because I guess they were kind of discouraged about it was a purple belt having a hard time with the white belt. And I just overheard, in between training and about, the white belt that moves and jumps around crazy like that, it's very good for self-defense like in real life. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll roll with you. But immediately I was like, oh yeah, let's get some rounds in. And I was like, come on, that's actually good. Because now you're careful of people kneeing on the head on accident.
That's a good point.
Like, you get elbowed in the head or smushed. And then now we're actually thinking like, okay, now I gotta protect myself while rolling. And then it's more fundamental. You're keeping tight, or you're super distant. And it's like, this is what we learned at like fighting blue belt.
Right, and it brings different danger of someone. Like sporadic movements of stuff that a higher belt, you know that you're not gonna have to deal with that danger. So and again, it's actually kind of good in a way.
Yeah, you also feel that adrenaline dump. Because in a real situation, you're gonna have that adrenaline dump, right? You're gonna feel that adrenaline from the other person. So that's in self-defense in the real situation. That's what you're gonna have to get used to. Even more so. Is that adrenaline?
That's the unknown.
The unknown, right?
Yeah, the unknown. Like, what's gonna happen? I gotta my legs, my knee. Yeah. That's true. So that was. I heard that. I was like,
those people are very important.
We need them.
We need them.
We need all of them. We need everybody.
We need everybody.
Yeah.
We need everybody.
Those people are important too.
Yeah. And then we also need the ones that, everybody. So that's good. That's what makes I think jiu-jitsu great. It's like people's like personality come out. I mean, you guys would probably agree. Like when you meet someone and then the way they roll is probably how their demeanor is.
It's a good indicator. Usually,
right?
Yep.
True.
Yeah, it's very rare you meet like a quiet guy who's really sassy.
Very rarely.
Right?
Yeah.
They're usually more of a technical, kind of sit back, maybe wait for you kind of game. And then maybe if they're kind of more bold and aggressive, then they're like, bulldog.
Yeah.
I remember I was at a Carlson Gracie school in Seattle, Marcelo Alonso. Professor, I think he just got 7th. He got a dragon black.
They got the coral.
He was a Carlson junior or senior black belt. Anyway, so he was great because that school was complete opposite. Because remember, up until like blue belt was all spider guard, and then there it was all smash pass and just double underhooks and just Carlson just smash. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then they would kind of make fun because initially before I moved there, they were like, oh, you all Hickson style, the aerial, you this one. You go for the opportunity.
You
And I was
force
like,
it, make it
oh,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this mix. And then that was the first time. That's when I started competing against purple and brown belts as a blue belt. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Like, all right, let's just jump in the purple brown division.
Why not?
Yeah. So that helped a lot because I was insecure about my top game at blue belt until that school. So yeah, Professor Marcelo Alonso.
In Seattle.
Very charismatic guy. And so what advice, wrapping up,
Oh yeah.
What advice would you guys have for someone starting out? I guess in music, if they're like someone on Instagram, they're watching you and somewhere around the world, China here, maybe Oahu, something. They're like, I kind of want to play like them and be on a stage, but I don't know where to start. What would you say, Vince?
Well, that's a good question. I think you really have to understand within yourself how much time and effort you want to put into it, because that's what's gonna, show the results. If it's kind of like anything else. If you put the work into it, and it takes a lot of work. We had to practice a lot, many hours every day. So it's like you have to understand within yourself if you're willing to put in that type of dedication into it, because that's what it's going to take. First of all,
makes sense.
So, you got that person has to decide, okay, if I want to get to that level where these guys are, how much effort and how much time per day am I going to put into it? Because if they're going to only be able to dedicate an hour or two a day to it, it's never going to happen.
Makes sense.
So it's good. You got to be honest with yourself about how serious you're going to take it. First of all, other than that, if you come to the conclusion that yes, you can take it seriously, then comes the time to start putting in the foundational work on the technical aspect of it. Right.
And so what would that look like for beginners?
But it depends. Nowadays with YouTube, it could be watching the video. It could be sitting there with your instrument watching the video. It could be taking a course like Andrew's, like his instructional courses, anything like that. Just find a teacher, whether it's in person or online. Nowadays there's just so much information that it's easy to do, and then just put in the time, hours every day. I left high school early. I left high school. Wow. I got my GED at the beginning of the end of my freshman year, basically. So I could stay home and practice every day, because I would practice 8 hours a day.
That's
nice.
That's
I like that. That's inspirational.
Yeah,
that's great.
And of course, I had incredibly supportive parents, which was a big part of it. But I got my GED so I could get up in the morning at 8 a.m., have breakfast, and then I would play guitar from 9 in the morning till about 4 in the afternoon, every day.
So yeah, you guys have put in your.
You got to put the time in. You have to. It's the only way. So somebody's really got to understand the level of dedication first that it's going to take.
I like that.
Yeah.
Time and how much. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, first one, if it's a new student or in general, I ask, what do you want from this journey?
Right.
What do you want?
Do you want to just play for your friends? Do you just want to play for yourself? Do you want to play in front of a crowd? Do you want to have a CD one day? And that's like the first thing I address right away. So I can help tailor trainings to their journey. And I love when I get those big aspirational ones. Like, I want to get into the studio one day. So that's when I'll figure out how to get them there. But they need to know where they want to go first. Right. So I need a clear vision of where they need to be, kind of thing. And it makes the journey that much easier, because it's just like, okay, if I'm going to be recording, if I'm going to be performing, that means I need theory, but maybe not need sight reading theory kind of thing. So you can kind of tailor what you need.
That's cool.
Where, it's like, kind of like, oh, do you want to be a guard guy or do you want to be a top guy?
Right. That's kind of like when you ask people, what do you want out of your jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Like that's when you ask me that, I'm sure you probably ask them the same thing. Right. It's the same thing. It's like, what do you want from this? What is the extent that you want to take this to? Because then, like you said, then you can tailor the person's journey and how they're going to achieve that in a specific way to them.
Yeah. But it makes learning so much easier when you know what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's like our behind the scenes handsome Jojo in the back. He's smiling with a big grin, and it's like if his goals, he has big aspirations, and it's like versus if it's like because we have a lot of people who are just I just want to train this for fun.
Mhm.
I love the camaraderie. I don't really have any desire to compete at a big stage or anything like that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great, cool. Just come, have a good time.
Yeah.
Just roll.
Yeah.
Just come at least twice a week.
Mhm.
You're good.
It's the same. It's pretty much the same thing for music.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you want to record a CD and you want to play in front of people, then you're going to need to practice many hours per day. If you want to play for yourself and your friends, you can get away with practicing half an hour a day
Makes
or an
sense.
hour a day.
And just like what you're saying, it makes sense. Because Jojo, he's like freaking
All day, every day. You have to
He's
be.
training like 6-7 days a week,
Yeah.
twice a day, and then
Yeah.
on top of that, he's eating
Mhm.
the good things. So it's like, what is that? Like, that's many hours on top of training,
Yep.
on top of eating, and then on top of feeding his brain good stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally agree.
Yep.
That's cool. It's kind of cool how like getting good at some things are pretty much the same.
Right.
In a grand scheme.
The learning
Dedication,
process is pretty universal, regardless of whatever you're putting it towards. It's just how much are you willing to put into it.
And it's like, are you training the right way?
Right. Because that's the other thing too, is like you don't want to develop bad habits.
Mhm.
That's true too.
Right. That's why having a good teacher is kind of a good thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I'm sure Andrew, as a teacher, you probably had to unlearn people's bad habits occasionally, right?
Yeah.
You get somebody that's like, oh man, you shouldn't be doing that way because you're making it harder on yourself. So
Well,
let me show
that's
you
actually
easier
step
way.
one, is undoing the bad habits.
Right.
And then proceeding with an
So
open
something
mind.
is better if it's someone brand new.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they're coachable.
Right.
And
As long as they have an
coachable,
open
yeah.
mind.
Mhm.
But if they think they know everything already, then that's the hardest student
Right.
you can
That's
teach.
like martial arts.
Yeah.
Too. That's like,
Like the white belt. Oh, I'm ready for the blue belt.
Yeah.
I'm blue belt already.
it's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
it's, similar.
And then where can people find you guys?
You can find me at AndrewMolinaUkulele.com or Andrew Molina Ukulele on Instagram, Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. You can just Google my name, Vince Esquire 1985, all social media. So pretty easy to find. Yeah.
Nice. And then any last words you guys want to leave on the podcast?
Just to keep inspiring people,
Yeah.
just keep doing what you love. I've never had a real job, you know what I mean? Because I've never had a plan B for me. Just playing music professionally was always number one goal.
Mhm.
So I think as long as people stick to doing what they love 100%, they'll find success in one way or another.
Yeah, me too. I agree. And that's our advice. Only have a plan A.
Only have a plan A.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because you can
All
go
in.
100% focus and tunnel vision on that plan A.
Yeah, because you don't want to feel like you have to. It's everybody's like, it's good to have something to fall back on. It is, but you don't want to have it in the back of your mind that, oh, I have this to fall back on.
Yeah.
It could make you lazy. Right.
It's easy route.
Yeah,
It's easy
exactly.
route.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we can always work somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And people are like, have a plan B, and I'm like, that's great, but I want to focus I want to put everything on plan A. I don't want to feel like, oh, I have a plan B just in case.
Yeah.
That might make me lazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
yeah.
This is a good episode. That's the podcast.
Yeah.
Andrew,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.